Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV, the place to be after, yes, a bad time of it in the West Ham world. I am here to take people's questions, if there's any questions that need to be asked, and, basically go through a few things. Before I get started, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, hit notification bell and all that. I'm going to be straight. The last 24 hours have been eventful, to say the least. And yes, I'm quite famous in the West Ham community as much as the Tottenham community at the minute, but I will get onto that shortly. Um, you know, Yesterday was hard, honestly, for many reasons. Like, some of it was personal towards me. I had to let loose, and I had to sort of try and sort of keep calm and composed. I just couldn't. And that's one thing I've learned over the last 24 hours is that if I've ever got any problems going on outside of YouTube, don't get on here. Simple as that. Because I'm too emotional for my own good. I really am. Tottenham fans or accounts have clipped up yesterday's sort of video of me shedding tears. And I ain't afraid to admit I was shedding tears yesterday because I feel like my club is dying. Yeah, and I stand by that quite openly. And I'll hold the L, Tottenham. Don't worry, I'll hold the L on this one. But I will get it back because we all know how well you will fuck up something, and then we will all be there to tell you how much you fucked it up. So, you know, it is what it is. But to talk about yesterday, and obviously Sullivan and everything else, my argument is where do we go from here? Like, what happens now at West Ham? I just feel that this club at the minute is it's just slowly dropping month by month, and people, even in the West Ham community, are saying it's fine. What is this? Is that? I'm gonna be straight. You know, it's not fine, and it's been going on for a long time. This is not a reoccurring thing. And yesterday's video, especially at the end of the video where I was very emotional, that's building up in me. It's building up to a point now where I'm starting to get fed up with being here, like, and supporting West Ham United. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm actually getting fed up with that. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to get fed up with that. And I love this club like the next person, and having them laughing at us like is one thing. They've come at me, yeah, which I've got to take on the chin. Yeah, I've simply just got to take that on the chin. Right, I should never have done the video yesterday, and I've done it out of pure emotion, and I'm going to learn my lesson on this one for a long time. But nevertheless, I've done it, and what I said, I hold fully, and I stand by it fully. I come out with stuff that a lot of fans have been saying, like they're slowly fading away with it. Now, as the dust settles with the Kudus situation, and him obviously going to Spurs, we won't know until probably in a year's time whether he's been a good signing for them or not. Yeah, if he goes there and flops, then we've had a result. If he goes there and shines, which I do believe he goes there and shines at the end of the day, I really do. I don't think he's going to be as bad as he was last year, and I think people have got to put it into context of last year and what happened last year. Julian Lopetegui, the change of systems, the change of everything. I don't think he's that bad, but as I said to Mitch and the boys yesterday, I don't hold it against him. I look more at the ownership of the club of why you've gone down this road. Like, even people have been saying to me, said, "Well, it's like a big fuck you from Sullivan straight to the fan base to say I do what I want, how I want, and you ain't going to tell me otherwise." I'm going to say this: I've had people messaging me this morning, saying that I think a protest is coming, and I think this is going to get well, it's starting to get warmed up with regards of people having enough of the situation. If it means me shedding tears on this channel, yeah, and being took the piss out of, I will take it all day long, as long as it gets this man out of the club. I do feel, before I get to your questions, yeah, I do feel that this ownership has done its time, and it's time to say goodbye. And before we know where we are, we could have a team that it just isn't deemed worthy. Now, Spurs have sort of come at us and said it's a rivalry, where it's our cup final, it's this and that, but they're fucking here on my platform. I've not been on no other people's platform. And I know Spurs fans. One of my best mates is a Spurs fan. He gave me a bit of stick yesterday, and some of them have been all right. They said, "I understand what you say in the video, right? At the end, and obviously the emotion that come out. That emotion has been building up from the last 9 years. Like I've been saying it for a long time on this platform. Anyone who's followed E20 since the beginning, I've always said that the ownership is the major problem at our club. He's the one where you look here and you think, come on, right? This is not what we're asking for. Listen, are we on the same level as Tottenham Hotspurs? Absolutely not, right? And I'm not deluded to say that. They are a better club, footballing club than us, right? The rivalry is there because we just simply just don't like them, right? And that's the bottom line of it. They don't like us, we don't like them. It goes hand in hand. Nevertheless, they are a better footballing club, and their achievements are outweigh ours, so to speak. Yeah. But when it comes to us, I feel that West Ham at the minute is just it's just we're it seems like we're just all accepting it for what it is. And I don't think that's right. I really don't. Like I speak to so many people that are match day going fans, they've had enough. They don't want to be there no more. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is not to do with a signing. It's the way the signing's been constructed. Now, I'm going to say this, yeah, to round up, and I'm going to chuck your questions in. I'm going to read them out. I'm going to go for about 45 minutes, right? Jay's doing a video tonight, and he's going to post a video about 7 o'clock tonight. All I say is this: watch the video, because Jay sort of pinpointed a few things in the WhatsApp group. He said this deal's fucking bad. It ain't as good as what people make out it is, right? So Jay's going to do a video later on tonight. So I suggest you watch it, because when he was explaining it to me, I was like all my anger's just gone now. And it's like, I just feel numb to the situation. Now, listen, Kudus can go, fine. That is what it is. That's the end of that, right? It's where we go from here now. Does anyone have any faith in David Sullivan allowing Potter to go out and get his players without getting involved? Because I don't. I look at him at the minute and I see someone who basically can go down that road of basically saying, well, I can sell to a rival who you haven't done business with for 10 years, I think it is, or 14 years, something like that. That tells me, right, when you're that desperate, you will go to anyone and you do it. And my question is yesterday, and I'm a lot calmer today, as you can tell, right? Because I've had a little reassess, and I've got to basically not do videos when I'm emotionally charged, because I can just let loose. The reason why I question a lot of stuff is, why are we in this situation? That's the real question that needs to be asked, is why are we at this club right now in a situation where it'll be 10 years at the end of this current season, and we haven't really improved. Like, we haven't really improved. We've got one top class player at our club. And when we moved, I think we had one top class player then at the time in Pyatt. Like, I don't get where we're going. I don't see the vision. All I see is something that Tony said yesterday. And I make him 100% right. This is exactly what Sullivan done at Birmingham. He was asset stripping all the way, bit by bit. And then basically next season, if we're desperate for dough next season, Bowen's up on offer, mate. It's as simple as that. People say Bowen ain't going to go nowhere. Bowen does what he's told, mate. If Bowen has to be sold to balance the books, Sullivan's going to do it. And he don't care about the fans. It proves it right now that if you can go to Spurs and literally offer a player to Spurs, he'll do anything. He simply will. He will literally do anything. And to me, that is more frightening than anything, because with Bowen, if Bowen went to Spurs, I think the outcry would have been unreal. I think Kudus going to Spurs, I think it balances it out, because some fans think, you know what, he wasn't that good last year. And other fans are like, well, come on, give him a chance. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So it's the lies, it's the bollocks that's been coming at the club for a long time. And listen, if it means me looking like a prick on social media, I'll fucking do it. Do you know what I'm saying? I've been onto this case for the last 9 years. I know so much, and you know, it is what it is. Let's get to a few comments. Why asset strip? Too lazy to say that. If the club gets relegated, etc., the value of the shares will plummet. Well, you tell me how good his business model is. Better still, the link's in the chat. Come on and tell me, because the business at the minute is failing. Simple as that. You're getting rid of all these players, and we can't even get a £20 million deal over the line. So someone explain to me what's really going on here. Like, it's not good. It's simply not good. Exactly. That's why we're in this situation. World of deceit, lies, red herrings, leaks, ducking and diving, never truths. Do you know what? If he would have come out and been straight with the fan base and turned around and said, "This is a situation, we're in the shit. I've put us in the shit due to poor choices of manager and players," then I could have sort of understood it to a point. But I read something earlier on that Central put up. And I shouldn't really listen to it, but I do. And it was saying about, oh, well, we've got 54 million. All the money's going to go on transfers. It ain't going to go on transfers. We all know it. West Ham have to sell 3 players, apparently. This is what was told at the start of May, right? Come up to the end of the season, West Ham are going to have to sell before they can buy. That is what was the narrative of what was coming out. Beginning part of June was the same thing. X said it on this platform two and a half weeks ago. Said the same thing. Like, you know, it's easy to criticise Mo, but it's not. It's effort to criticise Sullivan, and this is where I don't get the balance of the West Ham community. I really don't. And I've been a West Ham fan 38 years of my life. I've seen Terence Brown. I never see the Kearns, or never knew much about the Kearns, but Terence Brown I did. Obviously, the Icelandics we knew about, but this goes way beyond anything now. Yeah, there's 2 things that irritate me with the Mo thing. Yeah, selling him, not a problem. I can accept that. Fine. Going to Spurs and asking them to help is a bit of a kick in the bollocks, really, to say, you know what, you're that desperate, you will go to Spurs of all clubs because you can't flog the player. To me, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah. Also, the bidding war that never existed. Like, yet again, he goes in with a bidding war, and he wants a bidding war from Mohamed Kudus. And someone said it earlier on, and I'm going to be straight. There is a few people on social media who are fucking beautiful people who speak like quality. And they said, you're getting rid of Mo in his lowest point. If anything, you keep him and you build him up. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think Mo was pushing for out the door. I really don't. I think Mo was told that he was going to be sold. He had a choice of clubs. Liverpool didn't come in for him. Arsenal didn't come in for him. And Spurs was the final one. That's what I genuinely believe. Yeah. I could be completely wrong. But I know full well that Levy and Sullivan are very similar in the way that they run their club. Spurs hate Levy as much as we hate Sullivan. You ask a Spurs fan, and I know a few Spurs fans, for how much they give me banter. Now, I've been getting a lot of shit over the last 24 hours, rightfully so, because I was a fucking idiot. I shouldn't have lost me emotions. But nevertheless, they will tell you the same thing. Like, do you know what I mean? They don't trust Levy as much as we don't trust Sullivan. And you know what? To go down that road of going over to N17 and basically turn around and saying that we've got a player here, yeah, it's just not good. See, I'm not being funny, Sid. I don't really remember. I remember Terence Brown sort of vaguely because I was growing up, and when you're a kid growing up in the late 90s, I was born in 86. You don't really worry about the owner. I think what happens now really with West Ham, and do you know what? I haven't even bothered advertising this stream because I've just like, I'm tired of it now. Like, I've been saying it for a long, long time, and Jay's gonna do, as I say earlier, Jay's gonna do a video. I suggest you watch it because he's gonna pull apart what's really going on with the deal. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, X never said he put a transfer request in. He said that there was information he was told. I think Gio said the same thing on West Ham Network. Yeah, I agree, James. It's what we do with the money now. My only issue is right with it now is I don't think it's just Mo who's out the door. I think there's others going before we start looking to buy. The issue is there's going to come a time in this window, and I've been saying it for the last 6 months, ever since really Potter's been here. there's going to be a moment where Sullivan's going to get involved with a transfer that Potter wants, and Sullivan's going to try and find something cheaper, and that is what's basically coming. I don't like to try. I don't like to be negative, or I don't like to try and be negative. But I'm just being honest when I say things like this, because when you've seen the cycle with our owner each year, does the same thing over and over again, people forget what he done 6 months ago. Because some people have got a life. Maybe I haven't got a life. Yeah, but 6 months ago he goes and puts phantom bids in for John Duran for 57 million, but apparently we're skint. It feels like to me he's taking the piss out of the fan base, and I feel like he's took the piss out of the fan base on this situation. If I'm being truthfully honest, like how much more have you got to do? And the question that needs to be asked, and I'll ask this to everyone in the chat, yeah, and I'm going to try and run through some comments, is what has Sullivan got to do that takes him over the line and says, no, that's now you've gone way over the line. For me, this is it for me, right? I feel like personally, there's stuff that you just do not do in the West Ham community, whether you're an owner, and that is sort of sell to a rival. We didn't like it with Deck, but we could sort of understand it that he wanted to play Champions League, and he wanted to compete for the title. On this situation with Spurs and West Ham, it's always been like this for the last 10 years. Yeah, that we just don't deal with each other. We don't get on with each other. When we're at their gaff, it goes off. When they're at our gaff, it goes off. There's a lot of hatred there between the two clubs, right? And they say that we force a rivalry. We don't force no rivalry. Yeah, we don't like Millwall, right? For obviously obvious reasons, but we just don't like Spurs, full stop. Do you know what I'm saying? The Spurs don't like us. And this has been brewing, this rivalry, for the last sort of 25 years, maybe 35 years. Like, it's been going on for a long time. So, for me, I just feel like it's a bit of a kick in the mouth from him, and he's done something that is completely unacceptable. I'm surprised we haven't put in phantom bids in today. Honestly, mate, do you know what I'm saying? I'll give up trying. Tony, I hope you're well, mate, out there. Sullivan is asset stripping the club, done similar with Birmingham. He walked eventually, but on the brink of collapse. I completely agree, mate. I completely agree. Something Tony said, who come on yesterday, he said, James, this is very similar to what he done at Birmingham in regards of just getting rid of people. And I feel that West Ham, I couldn't tell you where West Ham are going to be in 5 years' time. I really couldn't. I couldn't really tell you where West Ham are going to be in 2 years' time, let alone 5. So it's a bit of a sour one at the minute. Now, obviously, signings come in, change the game for West Ham. Yeah, people get a bit upbeat. But all it's been so far this season, or this sort of transfer window so far, is nothing. There is nothing to be positive about. So, you can't asset strip a club. You have a board, shareholders to answer to. Yeah, but he's the main one, Mark. When does Sullivan ever listen to anyone? He don't even listen to the fans. Do you know what I mean? So he ain't gonna listen to them in the boardroom. Yeah, Sullivan's got this under complete control, right? I've said this for a hell of a long time, that he's working his way through the ground to get rid of all the hardcore fans. Yeah, because he doesn't want a Burnley 2.0 happening again. The difference is, I think it's coming. If you want me to be generally honest, and I spoke to someone today, something's brewing in the background, and I think something's going to happen probably at one of the home games, by either Lille or Chelsea or whatever. Because I think people have started to have enough now. Do you know what I'm saying? This is brewing up with West Ham, and the bubble is gonna burst eventually. Do you know what I'm saying? Daniel Kadinsky gets a pass quite a lot, but he's another one who I don't understand what he's trying to achieve at our club. Like, he's bought into this club. He's the second majority shareholder. Surely you can't be thinking this is acceptable at the minute, but apparently he is. Apparently, he's just sitting there and his hands are tied a little bit. So I don't know. I haven't got all the answers. I haven't. But on this one, the patterns just don't. They don't lie. They don't lie, mate. And I've seen it so many times. Like this transfer window, I see someone today turn around and say that we need like a goalkeeper, a defender, midfielders, striker. How can, in a space of 2 years, West Ham need a spine of a side? Just makes no sense. And we're sitting there and we're going, it all goes back to last year. So, you know, it's a bit of a tricky one, mate. Gordon Bennett.
Hello, mate.
Nick, what, mate? What are you doing this?
Well, I was just fucking boiling. Just got off the tube, had a pint, started watching you. I thought I'd get out the beer garden because, as you know, I live in Tottenham land and it's fucking full of Spurs fans in there. So I thought I'd get out, come on, and they've wound me up even more.
I know, mate. I know. Talk to me, Nick. What you saying?
Yeah, no, I was listening to some of what you were saying, and I completely agree. Well, I agree with all of it. The only thing is, you know, you were talking about the asset stripping. For me, that's been done. They've done that. The asset stripping was mortgaging against Rush Green, setting up some park, all the physical assets that was done. What they're doing now, what we're seeing now is a fire sale. I mean, 9 years we've been in this stadium. We've had 3 years of European football, which if you're talking about the financials from that, we sold Declan Rice for 100 million, and we're skint. How the fuck are we skint? They must be siphoning money out. So they've got to be. It's the only because we've got the cheapest rent in terms of a ground in the Premier League. So I really would love to see the accounts properly. There's one there. Look, there's one. I'd like to see the
fucking shirts everywhere, man.
I know. I'd like to see the accounts properly and try and establish exactly what's happening. But I don't think you ever would. You'll never catch them with their fingers in the till. It'll never happen. Yeah. They're too clever with anything like this. But the money's definitely going somewhere. It has to be. There's no explanation for it. And now I think if you look at X's update this morning, what was he saying? He said, we'll try and push through with the Diouf deal once the Kudus money comes in. Well, does that mean we've got fuck all in the bank then? Like literally nothing. Are we that skint? Do you know what I mean? When it comes to, I had a similar reaction to you. Unlike you, I don't regret it. I regret the swearing because I appreciate some people might be sort of tuning in with kids, but I don't apologise for how I feel about Spurs. I don't, and it's not just social media fans; it's all the people I've grown up with. I don't like the club. I appreciate in every fan base you're going to get decent people. You are, but on the whole, my experience can't fucking stand them. And it isn't so much the Mohamed Kudus thing, right? I think we'd all accepted that Kudus was going to go.
I agree.
We'd accepted it, you know. Didn't want him to go, but we knew he was going. It's the manner in which this has been done, the manner in which it's been handled, and what has really fucked me off is the cowardice in the way that the club has dealt with it. Now, the amount of people that are trying to sort of jump on demonising Mohamed Kudus, which basically absolves the board of all blame because it means bad player. Bad player. We had no choice. They're ignoring everything that came before. There's more and more people doing it. And for me, they don't realise it, James, but you're doing the bidding of David Sullivan. You're working for Sullivan, even though you don't even fucking realise it.
True.
You're putting that message out there. How the fuck can any sane-minded person believe he put in a transfer request? We've been whoring him out for 3 months, begging teams. He didn't need to put in a transfer request. Yeah. So how can anyone bite that shit? And that's the stuff that I can't tolerate in our own fan base at the minute. People choose to believe what they want to believe. 1 minute they'll say, "Oh, don't listen to Sullivan," and then he drips out shit like that, and they're all over it. They're swallowing it up. And this is how he will consider. And do you know what? When Alvarez goes, which I fear, like you said earlier on, a domino effect. Fall through Alvarez, it won't be the end. When these players go, we'll probably have the same stuff leaked about them. Mercenary player, forced his way out, this, that, the other. Why has it got to be done? Just own it. If you're going to sell them, grow some bollocks and say, we're skint, we need to sell them, make some money back on them, and we're going to reinvest it. That's what we're doing, because we've got to. Then we won't be happy with it, but at least they ain't been fucking pussies about it. Do you know what I mean?
I'd rather them just be honest, mate.
Yeah,
That's what it is. I'd just rather them just be honest and just turn around and say to us, "This is the situation." What I can't understand, Nick, and you've been onto it as much as I have,
yeah,
is the fact of the matter is why are we so far in the shit? That's the thing that doesn't really make a lot of sense to everyone. And what you've just said there is absolutely spot on about painting Mo in a bad light. Yeah, we
yeah,
haven't got no West Ham fan right now. I could ask 10,000. They could all probably say the same thing, right? He was going to go. It's fine. We can accept
yeah.
him going. But it's where he's gone to. It's how Sullivan's handled the transfer, but going to Levy because he's 100% gone to Levy, right?
I'm with you on
And
that.
like, because it doesn't make no sense. Like, it's just you got to put join the dots together. Like, you don't deal with Spurs for 10 years, right? You're stubborn about it, and all of a sudden we're in the shit, and he's going to Daniel Levy of all people. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Well, well, I think he honestly believed that it was going to trigger a bidding war. I think
yeah,
that's what he thought. But the fact of the matter is, unfortunately for him, he had a player in Mo who, in his first half season or season, whatever it was, do you know what? I wouldn't have been surprised if somebody had have triggered the 85 million. But if he'd have continued his form by being played in either of his three strongest positions, the 8, the 10, or the right wing, which he probably would have done. Stick Jared Bowen out on the left, see how he does. Restrict him to just his left foot out on the fucking left wing,
true.
where he
Yeah,
can't cut inside and shoot. See what his goal return will be. He's been
yeah,
stifled for a year, poorly managed, and that is the reason why people put it down to he ain't tried. He's thrown the towel in. No. I reckon you might have had certain instances in games where he's getting fed up and he's frustrated and he's like, "Fucking, what am I supposed to do here?" West Ham. Not well, no. Lopetegui actually weren't. We was terrible at the other end defensively, but in
yeah.
terms of chance creation, we weren't as bad. But under Lopetegui, on average, not under Potter, I checked yesterday. On average, we've been creating 2 chances a game. What do you want him to fucking do?
This is just the beginning, mate. Honestly,
Honestly,
I'm really. I think a protest is coming, Nick. If you want me to be honest.
do you know what, mate? As you know, we've been doing this this petition thing. Getting the West Ham fans together is almost impossible. I was talking to someone last night. It ain't even a New Age fan. So somebody told me when they was involved in kind of a protest against the bond scheme, and they said they was trying to hand out leaflets, and they said even back then, he said just trying to get people to take a fucking leaflet. He said people just walk past you.
Yeah,
He thinks it's always been inherently a West Ham thing, but then what will happen is because we're all strong-minded, we all think we know best. We all fucking shit on everyone else's ideas. Don't do this, do that. We ain't gonna do nothing. But then all of a sudden, what will happen is it will get to a point where it fucking explodes, like Burnley. No
yeah,
one does nothing, and then it explodes. We'll never ever galvanise. I mean, we did to a certain degree. We was getting the process going before COVID. That was good. You know, that was good, and that broke down for whatever reason it did. We'll say COVID, but it broke down. But that's very unusual. It's un-West Ham like to get anything like that going. To get the fan base together. Where it's difficult, mate. I mean, like I said on the video the other day, I don't regret starting that petition. I don't, but I'm embarrassed from the point of view that I feel like Sullivan will laugh at it, and it paints us in a bad light. And the fact that not enough people have jumped on it, and even now, about 300 more people have jumped on it since Kudus has gone. But what the fuck is 300 people, James?
it's fuck all.
There's
Yeah, I know.
nothing, mate. We ain't even at 5,000 yet. Now, what that means is, to me, that's been running for 5 weeks. Only 5,000 fans are unhappy with Sullivan and Brady. I know that's not the case.
Yeah.
I know that's not the case. But when you look at it on the face of it, that's what it looks like. Only 5,000 fans are unhappy with Sullivan and Brady. So, yeah, look. I don't know. I don't know where to go with it. I'm worried about what comes next. I've got no
Yeah.
doubt that we will unveil a couple of signings. It will happen. You know, we'll probably unveil Diouf, the bloke that we've got the deal, you know, organised for. But yeah, I'm more concerned with the good quality players, more of them going, more, because we was crap last year. So it's going to get
Yeah.
much.
Where's it, Millwall?
Much worse. No, not Millwall, worse. Yeah.
You know, Right, I'm gonna let you crack on, Nick, and enjoy your day, mate. All right.
Yeah, go on, mate.
I'll catch you later on. Take it easy.
For getting a tear up. See you later.
Oh dear. Experience man in. Rich, what you saying?
You're not keeping him on.
No, he had to go, mate. So what are you saying though?
He had to go.
He had to go, mate.
The thing is, I think it's funny when people talk about charlatans and frauds like David Sullivan, but then can't look at themselves in the mirror. You know, talk about uniting the fan base. He's unsuccessful at uniting the fan base right now, Nick, and I'm sorry to hear that, but he was very successful at uniting his fan base to turn on the most successful manager we've had in the Premier League era. Fact. European champions, right? Champions of the Conference League.
I'm gonna let you land.
We're a very, very, very long way away from that.
Right. First things first, everyone's entitled to their opinion. No cunt likes my opinion. But the thing is, I haven't been wrong. So I will continue to be right until this fucker's out the door, because I know quite a lot and people look at me like I'm some sort of fat chav who hasn't got a clue what he's talking about, but I haven't been wrong. That's the first thing on that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. The issue is here, we can go around in circles, but it all goes back to the ownership of this club. The owner, for me, they're selling Mo, which is not a problem. Yeah. Some people are on this bandwagon that about not selling him. I was like, why are we in this situation? Not once have I said, oh, we shouldn't sell him. Yeah. If you want to sell him and get the most for him. The issue I've got currently right now is, one, why are we in this situation? Two, how did it come to us getting in this situation that we have to go to Spurs of all clubs to sell our second best player at our club? That's the question that needs to be asked here. I'll
tell you three things, James. Three things, right? Number one, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Okay. And the fans saying, oh, it was shit. It was shit. It was shit. Was it shit? I'll tell you what was shit last season. Now that was shit. Now I'll tell you what wasn't shit. Going to Leverkusen, right? Going on fucking away days to Iron Apple, mate. That was not shit. I'll tell you that for free. Turning up to Lyon, winning 3-0. Talking about style of football. I tell you what wasn't shit. Lifting that trophy in Prague. So first of all, let comment on that. Ridiculous comments in the thing. Still licking this guy's ass, defending him, and the way he turned on David Moyes and ridiculed him and abused him. It's a disgrace. It's the worst thing I've ever seen happen at my football club. The way our fan base turned on David Moyes. It's a disgrace. Let's get that out of the way for one. Number two, right? David Sullivan, we can blame him all we want. Until we get our house in order as fans and start supporting the team, then we won't see change. Okay? We need to start supporting the team, whatever that takes, whatever that looks like.
Hold on a minute.
Number three.
Hold on.
Yes.
I'm going to answer you.
I said 1, 2, 3. I haven't asked
any
questions.
I'm going to answer you, and then we'll go through it stage by stage. Every West Ham fan right now. Hold on.
Number 3.
Right, you can do number 3 in a minute. West Ham. Every West Ham fan in my chat, who I know, supports this club through thick and thin. They pay their hard-earned money.
Thick and thin. I tell you, they don't. I tell you, they don't.
Why?
A lot of them, I tell you for a fact, were not supporting us when we were under Moyes. Chanting sacked in the morning. That's not thick and thin.
One thing I will agree with you on is the fans turned on Moyes when they should have been putting their attention on Sullivan. Yeah, I'll give you that. But I've been on the Sullivan train for a long time. I can't speak for every West Ham fan currently right now. But what I can speak is how this owner is taking the piss out of everyone. He took the piss out of us on this one. Yeah. And we've got to hold it. We've got to deal with them singing, dancing, cheering, comments, everything. Yeah. Now I've got to hold it. Yeah. I've come on here today because I've had to do this video because I've got to sort of let it all out, but in a calm manner. The issue is now is that where do we go from here under this ownership? That's the question that needs to be asked.
I just want to answer the people in the chat as well. Number one, saying, go back to Moyes. Who's this Moyes fanboy, right? I'm not saying go back to Moyes. That ship has sailed.
Right.
We fucked the ship off. Now look where we are. We're left at the port with just shit in our hands. We pushed the ship away. Go on, off you go, mate. Off you go, sail the 7 seas while we sit here wanking over a stale loaf of bread. Right? Number two, The fan saying I'm a Sullivan supporter, I think fundamentally that guy is the worst owner in the Premier League. No doubt about it. No doubt in my mind. I think
Right.
he failed, and he was the one who stabbed the back in Moyes finally as well. Okay, fine, whatever. Moyes is gone. Yeah, it was the wrong decision to get rid of him. Okay,
Right.
clearly as last season showed. Because, and not because, you know, like the owner was always David Sullivan. He was never going to bring in the right man to replace him. We finally had someone working with this owner and we got rid of it.
Right.
David Sullivan is the worst owner in the Premier League. Why? Because he always has to get involved and he knows fuck all. He doesn't delegate. He always has to take charge. Oh, I like this geezer. Get him in. Oh, I've watched him in the Championship. He must be good. I've seen him do some stepovers and get it. I like him. Well, he plays number 10 for Brazil. Fuck me. Yeah, how much do you want? It's unserious ownership. And you saw it last summer. The problem was it wasn't necessarily Lopetegui who wasn't great at his job. It wasn't necessarily Steiden who wasn't great at his job. And the fact is, all of them had their hands in the pie. 3 people in charge of transfers. No wonder you're left in a mess. And we're paying the price for that mess now, watching Kudus meet our biggest rivals. And it's disgraceful.
Yeah, but I'm going to say this to you, right? That all goes back to last summer. Yeah. We all knew last summer when we got
rid of Moyes.
No, yeah, but there's getting rid of Moyes, right? Because Moyes was never going to live here forever. Simple as that. He was never going to live here forever, right? And there's getting rid of Moyes for a purpose, right? To go on and be a better club and better run club on and off the pitch. The moment you serve us up, Julian, I can't speak fucking English. I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, Lopetegui. That to me tells me that you've got no idea what the fuck you're doing and you're going after a name. Sullivan never buys anyone out of a contract. He never has. He never done it at Birmingham, and he ain't going to do it here. And the issue is, this switches from last season to the present day. Yeah. Last season, we had 3 people in charge of transfers. Makes no sense. You got an owner, you got a technical director, and you got a manager. How the fuck does that work with 3 people on transfers? That's wrong. The sacking of Julian Lopetegui, yeah. Sullivan back in January the 4th, because he's all up there. I don't forget fuck all. January the 4th, we get rid of him after the Manchester City defeat. Sullivan literally tries to pull him out the door by making him resign. Instead of just letting the geezer go, he drags it out for like 2-3 days while this man takes training. This is an owner of our club who's taking the piss out of all of us, right? And something Nick said, and I fucking agree with Nick. If you want change, you've got to act. You've got to sign petitions. You've got to turn up to protests.
He acted.
You've got to do it.
He signed petitions. He abused. He stirred up abuse every week on his pathetic little live stream against David Moyes. And the fans in the comments, say what you want. We were successful under Moyes. And I tell you what would be a great season next season if we finish 9th. If we score as many goals as we did in this supposedly shit season. The one season he didn't qualify us for Europe, we got rid of him. Fine, Moyes is gone. I can accept that. I can live with that. But you knew for a fact who still would be the owner. You knew for a fact what would happen at our club. Because
I agree with you on this.
Sullivan cannot be trusted. And they knew it, but they were happy because of personal vendettas. Nick Killington's personal vendetta against David Moyes. He couldn't let it slide.
Right. But I agree with you on this. That's one thing I do agree with you on. Is when people were saying about change, they forgot who the owner was. Whereas I never. Yeah, and I was saying it for quite a long time that remember who runs this fucking club of ours. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to sort of come back to the present day though, right? Because at present we're going through a fucking history lesson. Right now, we've just sold probably our second best player in the Claret and Blue.
Not last season.
Yeah.
They're all shit.
Right, that was all shit last year. Right, we'll probably all agree on that, right? The issue is why are we in this situation? How comes we have got into this situation, and why is it that Spurs have come in and took one of our players, knowing the full well the backlash that's going to cause?
Look. Say what you want. I am a Nick hater. I hate the guy who got the most successful guy out of our club or helped to. Stirred up hate every single week. Abuse,
answer me question, mate, please.
It was disgraceful and disgusting, those streams, some of the accusations that were bandied around. Now, let me get on to the present day. Graham Potter, a man that I'm going to support as a West Ham supporter. I think he's been given the keys clearly. He needs to sign some players. The fact is, I think it's disappointing that a ball can't cough up any money, especially after they supposedly backed the club last year, when in reality, backing two people to undermine each other. Steiden or Lopetegui never worked, right? And then even before, Steiden signing players behind Moyes' back, right? This is Sullivan's way. Just stir, spin and stir. What does he think is going to happen on the football pitch? It's never going to work. You know, when you're setting that vibe almost from the top, it's set up for failure, complete and utter failure. I think fundamentally right now we're in a bad way. The only way we were going to get better is through signings. If we have to sell to buy them, fine. I think if Mo Kudus had the same season as he did this season and we sign no players in the summer, yeah, we will get relegated, or we'll certainly be down there. So they have to roll the dice, right? It's a shame that Kudus has to go. And it's a real shame that he has to go to our rivals, because I don't know about you, I'm chilled to the bone at the thought of him scoring at the London Stadium or at their gaff and sitting down in front of our fans. That terrifies me, to be honest. Yeah,
I agree with you on this, but the issue is that the owners put us in this situation, mate. This is where it all goes back full circle, and you can blame. I see people blaming Mark Noble. I see people blaming Mo. I see people blaming everyone else, but the blame has got to be firmly locked in on the owner.
But I think there's a number of people you can blame. But I think there's a number of
enlighten
people.
Me.
And I agree. I blame David Sullivan. But I think our fans keep doing this. They keep playing the blame game featuring John Legend. Yeah,
right.
John Lennon, right? They did this last time when things weren't going as well as they hoped. It's all the manager's fault. Now it's all the owner's fault, right? That's not a healthy state to be in. Okay,
the owners put us in this situation though.
Blame Sullivan, but I tell you, these people as well who are lambasting themselves as always correct, always get it right. Where were they when we made the worst decision ever by not giving Moyes that new contract? The worst decision I think this club has made for at least 25 years.
I feel on the side of the Moyes thing, it was always going one way with Moyes. Yeah. I defended Moyes for quite a long time. And then it come to a stage where I thought, you know what, maybe change would be good for everyone. Yeah. It brings harmony back into the camp, and then we go again. The issue is but the issue is you've got an owner in charge that always goes for the cheap option. Julian Lopetegui was the cheap option. He was the one that was there. He was available. There was no scouting of the next manager to take over the reins at West Ham. It was just a simple, Julian Lopetegui's the name, right? We'll have him. Yeah. And the reason why this has gone tits up is basically because of last season. Last season, we signed players that didn't really work in the style of play that we was trying to play, with a manager that didn't have a fucking clue what he's trying to do. And then we go and get rid of him. And St. Damien said, Damien gets a lot of stick. I'm going to say this, right? He said something and it's always stuck in there. Our next manager was a scroll in Karen Brady's phone. That's all it was. It had nothing to do with looking for the next manager to make West Ham great. It was a shot. It was a quick fix. And all it was a scroll in the phone. And that was the end of that. That's where it's wrong. And this is why we're in this situation. Now, coming back to the Mo situation now, right? Him going there is really a bit of a fuck you from Sullivan to all of us lot. Do you know what I mean? It is. It's as simple as that. It's a fuck you to say, I will do what I want, even if I'm desperate. The issue I've got is why are West Ham United desperate? That's the question that needs to be asked. Why are we desperate? We're in a stadium that we pay £5 million a year to. And we're that desperate for money, Rich. Come on. It ain't right. It's unacceptable, mate.
Yeah. Look, I think actually all the apathy and angst in the fan base, and where I'll never forgive David Sullivan for, is the move to that stadium. Right? It's not been hugely successful. It's not brought in huge amounts of money. and now we're at a position, you're right, where we're selling our best players to Spurs. It's an embarrassment. The fans are right to be disappointed. The fans are really correct to be disappointed and frustrated and want to do something. You know, the reality is the best thing that we can do, because the fact is David Sullivan isn't going anywhere. The best thing that we can do as a fan base, in my opinion, is to support the current manager, support the boys on the pitch, whatever that looks like, come August the 18th, 17th,
16th of August, we go to Sunderland away. We have to be ready. I can guarantee it right now, West Ham won't be ready. And West Ham will be scrambling around for players up until the end of September.
But who signs the contracts? You know, who signs the checks off? The answer is obvious. He's completely incompetent, David Sullivan. Does he even run a business anymore? This is his full-time job, doing West Ham shit. He loves transfer windows. Gets to sit around watching YouTube videos the whole time. It's a farce, right? And like you say, the criticism of the Potter appointment. I'm a little bit of the view. It's quite an old school view. I think the manager of West Ham, I think it helps if he's British. I'm not saying he always has to be, right? We've had great European managers, but I think it helps if he's British. And I think Potter was probably the best British manager available. That being said, I think fans are right to criticize anything David Sullivan does. He can't be trusted.
Yeah, but this is a bit. I'm going to say this, Rich. It's a bit more deeper than just that, though. Like my emotional video that I done yesterday, where it's been clipped up by fucking half of Tottenham, which they're having a laugh about, but fuck it, I don't mind it. Yeah. The issue is that this goes way beyond football now. This is becoming a bit of a deeper, more meaningful thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're in a ground that no one likes. We've got fans that are walking away, season ticket holders. People are getting fed up with the club. This is like, I know people that have been supporting West Ham 50 years. And there's gentlemen that message me from time to time and say, James, I'm not going no more. Like Mitchell, who comes on this platform, said the same thing to me. And I was shocked by Mitch. I really was. That one really done me, because Mitch loves his club to death, right? And he said to me, no, I can't do it, James. I can't go over there. Right? It's just, I'm not feeling it.
This is the thing, though, with people like Mitchell as well, and some of these fans. The general apathy is there. It's been there since the stadium move, in terms of, not the same football club that I grew up supporting. Upton Park was a very, very special place. It was our spiritual home, our soul. Right, and then it was taken away from us to move to, like the Westfield outlet. Right, it's a disgrace. The stadium move, no two ways about it. We didn't kick up enough fuss then, and I think some of our fans are still like angry about that. And I think all we're doing is just constantly looking for lightning rods. And I think you're right. The biggest lightning rod should be Sullivan, but I think the problem was, people fed on that apathy under Moyes, and people used Moyes as the lightning rod instead of Sullivan. And people like Nick, who you had on earlier, targeted Moyes, and they wound up all these people, which is pretty much every West Ham fan who went to Upton Park, who are losing love for the club day by day. Right, no one right now is sat around going, "I love West Ham more today." Yeah, anyone who went to Upton Park knows how special that ground was, and knows we lost a big piece of heart.
But people can want change, Rich.
The point is, though, in my view, right, the one thing that's never going to change, or the one thing that's always going to remain, are the boys wearing the claret and blue out there on the pitch. Right? And they're the people that I'm always going to be supporting. And whoever's behind them, whoever's manager, I'm going to support them unless I see someone that's really, really off, like Lopetegui, the whole two centre halves, fullbacks playing right and left wing.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you this question, because I don't really get enough feedback from a lot of people. Because I say this question, but what is it that Sullivan's got to do to make it unacceptable for you?
What has Sullivan got to do that's unacceptable? I've seen some comments on there as well that I do want to respond to, this idea of defensive managers. We've had attacking managers in the past. I think there's a big misconception around football that if you attack more, you'll be more successful. I think, anyone who watches teams outside of West Ham knows that's not necessarily a fact. What was your question again? Sorry, James, I was reading.
What is it that is going to be deemed unacceptable and can't be returned in regard to Sullivan? Because for me, this is one of them right now.
James, mate, he's well past that. He moved us from Upton Park into an unready shithole. Do you remember the first game back? We were stood, or I know you've not been, but we were on top of scaffolding, with seats attached to it. We had a running track still around the pitch with a green carpet on top that literally during games peeled off and you could physically see the running track underneath. And we were taken out of Upton Park for that. And that's the point. That's the point of no return. He's been.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this quickly just to come in there. But there's two different generations here that I'm noticing. People who were 5, 6, 7. Don't forget, we left Upton Park 10 years ago. Don't feel it. Yeah, their feeling is towards Stratford, and they ain't gonna have the same feeling as me, who's a 38-year-old. So the difference is, it's a generational divide here, right? On the one side, there's people that were going to Upton Park religiously, and one thing with West Ham and Upton Park, especially down Green Street and the Barking Road, it was very community based. You go to the shops, you go to the Pine Mash shop. You used to buy your shirts in different shops down that street. It was more of a community-based feel. At West Ham Company right now, we are in a ground with half the fucking people who are tourists and day trippers. And that's not me lying. I'm being honest.
Isn't that true of the world though? Isn't it less community-based, more corporatized? Tourists.
It is to a point, and it has changed. Don't get me wrong, but on this one, if Sullivan was doing good for West Ham, I could sort of let it go. But so far, in the space of 18 months, it's been going down the pan with West Ham.
But James, I've got to be honest. The only way that Sullivan, the difference is he's gone, right? He is gone. Yeah, I've got so little respect for that geezer. Little being, topical word there. But the problem is the only way he can do is redeem himself. And right now, what I'm seeing with this, selling of Kudus, I don't see any desire for him to redeem himself. I don't know if you agree with me, but it's quite the opposite. It's almost like he's cutting adrift. Look,
I think it's a case of he's just turned around and said "fuck you" to the fans, mate.
But James, when has he ever cared about the fans, mate? When has he ever cared about the fans?
On this one, though, this is strong.
Yeah,
right?
James,
do you know what I'm saying?
Declan Rice to Arsenal, mate. But mate, I tell you, a million times worse moving from Upton Park compared to the Kudus thing. A million times worse.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Listen, I completely agree with that. But this comparison that I keep seeing with Declan Rice and Kudus, Arsenal have never really been a fierce rival of West Ham's. Yeah, West Ham have always done good business with Arsenal. We've signed some players from Arsenal over the years, right? And that goes back a long way. Right. So with the Rice thing, I think we was more angry with Rice than we was with Arsenal. Arsenal just come in there and wanted the player. Yeah. With this situation with Kudus currently right now, this feels like to me that West Ham have gone to Spurs because we're that desperate. And I always say it is, why are we that desperate? West Ham shouldn't be in this situation, mate.
Yeah. A terrible last summer is the answer, really. And I think who can you blame for that? I think there were multiple things that were terrible about last summer. I still bring them back to the point that I wanted to come on to make. Right? Yeah. Is I know fans disagree with me in the comments. It was the wrong decision to let David Moyes go. I'm sorry, it was, and it was the only time I think during David Sullivan's entire tenureship they pretended to listen to what the fans had to say. The only time, because if you really think he cared, no, he didn't. He wanted control.
So who
got
Moyes out, the fans or the owner?
Honest answer, mate. It's the owner, right? It's the owner, because he doesn't give a shit what the fans think. That being said, the environment was incredibly toxic, and I think it was stirred up by I'm not saying exclusively by one person on YouTube, right? Of course it wasn't, but I do think it was really stirred up on social media. And the hatred and some of what you were hearing, it was shocking because it got normalized to hear these things. Look, I'm not saying we would be in the Champions League if we kept David Moyes, but I am saying I'm not convinced we'd be selling Kudus, and I am saying we wouldn't have had as bad season last season.
I don't know. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. For me, I just look at it like this: you can make a change in life, but you've got to make sure that the change is the right one. And I
Mm.
just feel the moment you take it out of anyone's hands, yeah, and say, right, you're going to change the manager. As West Ham fans, we accept that. I can't blame anyone for having an opinion that's different to mine. Yeah, because I'm not always right. You're not always right. And I'll just quickly speak for Nick. I don't think Nick would agree that he's always right. Yeah, some things he's got wrong, and he's even said it.
You can
The
say
issue
that
is-
again. You got things wrong for 3 years.
Yeah, but the thing is, we all want the same thing, right? And the same thing is, we want the best for this club. And currently, right now, the best for this club is us being taken the piss out of by one of our fierce rivals. That to me just tells me that the club's not being run right. The club is desperate for money. And the question goes back is to why are we in that situation, right? For me personally, the reason why we're in this situation is because we've got an owner in charge who doesn't invest no money into the club. He hasn't done for a long time, right? He's been recycling money throughout that club on transfers and positions and things like that. For me, all good things come to an end with an owner. And I feel like now the time is now to say goodbye, David Sullivan. We don't want you in anymore.
James, I'm sorry, mate. There's fuck all we can do. There is nothing we can do. You can do all the petitions you want, all the protests. You know, even when it got violent, it actually solidifies him. I think he thrives off it. I think he's built his entire career of not caring what people think or say That's his whole brand.
It's like for me, right? When you say that, and I hear that quite a lot from other people, not just yourself. And you say, "Oh, what can we do?" It's like
I'm not saying what can we do. I'm saying there's nothing we can do.
Right. It's like basically saying that we're on a ship. The ship is sinking, and we're just going to go down with the ship without fucking fighting for our lives.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm never going to do, mate. I'll tell you what I'm never going to do. I'm not going to jump off, like some people have. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
In what regard is that?
Fan, I love my football club, right? And I'm not saying but I am saying I'm a West Ham fan. I love my football club. I love going week in, week out. I love supporting the players, right? The fact is, unfortunately, we can get annoyed all we want with Sullivan. Now, I could drive myself crazy with the thinking, and I do sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I have days, I'm not even joking to you, where I'm like yourself, and I'll just sit on the sofa just fucking raging about the shit ownership we've got. I do. The fact is, though, as West Ham fans, we just, unfortunately, have to come to terms with this. And we can say and rage and scream into the wind, punch and fume, but there's nothing we can do. The best thing that we can do as West Ham fans, and this is my key point, is do what we didn't do with David Moyes and actually get behind Graham Potter and the boys and push them on for a good season. We need to make an atmosphere in this stadium. We've seen it is possible, but we also know how difficult it is.
The problem is
what we need to do.
Right. The problem is with that is everyone's walking away. I don't think people realise how much.
It's a sellout every week, mate. If we're half decent next season, you have at least 55,000 people at every single game. You know,
I could guarantee it. I can guarantee it right now, right? And I'll listen. I'm not fucking 100% accurate on everything, but on this one, I can guarantee it that probably half of the ground is West Ham fans. The other half are just football supporters.
I've got definitely not half, mate. Definitely not half. You've never been. I've never been.
Yeah, but I may have never been. But people have sent photos to me. There's Arsenal fans, Tottenham fans.
James. It's not half, mate. It's not half, though. It isn't half. It's maybe like 5-10%, 15-20. It's not half.
And also, you've got to get this in your head also, right? Is that some of these people have no feeling towards Upton Park. None.
No.
Right, they've got no feeling. Now, I don't know how old you are, yeah, and I'm not going to ask you how old you are, right? But obviously, there is people of my age in my mid-30s who are saying the same thing and saying, well, look what we had there. And let's have it right here. In 10 years at West Ham United Football Club, because it'll be 10 years this year, this coming season, what's really changed? Really?
Well, I'll answer that question. We had a great European run. We won a European trophy. We finished 6th, 7th, 9th, 14th that season.
So in 10 years,
the highlights. They're the highlights of the 10 years.
Right. So in 10 years, when we was told that we were going to move, we had one world-class player at the time when we moved in Dimitri Payet,
Yeah.
We've got one top class player now. I'm not going to say call him world class, Bowen, but he's top class to us, and he's a top class player. For me, nothing's really changed, mate. And what it is basically we are going backwards faster than anything. How can you go from winning a trophy 2 years ago to being in this current situation right now where we are fucking skint? Like, I don't sit on here and go, right, I've got to fucking mention Sullivan. But what Sullivan does every single time is the same stuff over and over again. Like, he done it with well, let's go back a few more years if you want. Let's go back to when he decided to let David Moyes go the first time. That was on Sullivan. The Pellegrini situation, which was a fucking disaster. Then he brings Moyes back. Right, you know, for me, like this is going to end badly, right? And I've been saying it for the last year that something's going to brew up. This could be the start of it. I'm going to be straight, right? Because to go in there, yeah, is one thing, but selling to Spurs is something that is just not
James,
acceptable.
It's something that happens once in a blue moon, innit, mate? You know, I think on the other side, 55 million quid. I don't think the way he played last season, we would have got that from anyone else. But clearly, the season before, he's a top player. You know, it's a pitiful situation, and it is really frustrating. And I understand your frustration. I don't think it's the death of our club.
Yeah, but that comment there, read that comment. That's it, James. The West Ham of old is gone, which is true.
Yeah,
you can support what is going on at the at the OS. Yeah. It's not really West Ham anymore, and that is probably comment of the day for me.
But I disagree with that, right? And I'll tell you why. All right, so I've been going to away games for the last 10 years, right?
Right.
And last 15 years, probably actually. West Ham's not dead. West Ham's not dead. Yeah, he's not dead. It isn't dead. All these memories we've got as well, they're fantastic. Keep them, right? Memories are important. And I've had some great times at that London Stadium, mainly on the European nights as well. But we've had some good times there, beating Liverpool, beating Spurs. I remember that one from 2017, Lanzini scoring.
1-0, yeah.
Yeah, incredible. We've had some really, really good times at this stadium, right? Because I tell you for a fact, West Ham is not dead. And the one thing that unites us and will always have is the fans. And this is why I don't want to go too hard on the fans. I think they were riled up against Moyes, right? A lot of just normal people, just, you know, the hatred got normalized, right? So I'm done talking about Moyes. But the one thing that we've got and we need to stick together with is West Ham. We are West Ham. We are the fans. I'm sorry, James. Sullivan ain't going nowhere, or he isn't going anywhere. Right, when we need to just sort of accept that as a fan base. But what we need to do is pull together, support the boys, support the team.
Yeah, but this is where you're wrong, right there. Because what you keep saying is we need to support. That's why we're all here. We're all here because we fucking care. I don't sit on here morning, noon, and night. I don't do streams after games. Right, I don't do all this because I don't care. If anything, I'm going to be honest, I care too much. That's my problem. I can't speak for anyone else. But for me, I care too much because this has been going on for a long, long time. And the issue is there's going to come a time where something's going to fucking enrage the fan base. Now, what I personally think is, I think it's next season. I think it's next summer. I think West Ham are going to be desperate for money next summer. And I think Jarrod Bowen's up on offer. That is what I genuinely believe. And I haven't been wrong on a lot of things. And I think he's the only sellable asset that we've got left, really. You take out the players that we're going to get rid of this summer, Alvarez, Aguerd, Mavropanos, Andy Irving, Guido, all these players, yeah? West Ham owe money next year. Bowen's up on offer.
Very sellable assets, the ones you named at the end.
But whether they're worth 5 million or 50 million,
we're going to sign players as well. Obviously, you know, I'm sorry, James. I do fear you're a little idealistic there in your view that there's going to be a big West Ham revolution. You know,
it's coming, mate.
I'm
telling you.
I'm telling you from what I see at the ground. Actually, the majority of people just go to the games, right? They're not as passionate as you or I. You know, I'm sorry, that's the reality. We are the hardcore. There is not going to be a huge West Ham turning point revolution. And even if 60,000 people walked out the ground, I'll tell you who wouldn't even bat an eyelid. David Sullivan. He wouldn't. The only way he sells, James, is a good offer comes in for the club. That's the only thing we can hope for. So your best bet, instead of protesting, is going around Saudi Arabia, lobbying big business there to invest in West Ham. That's your only hope. That's the only thing you can do. And I'm sorry to be so pessimistic. We're stuck with this geezer. He clearly is. And I agree with the sentiment that he is the worst owner in the league. I think he is. I think there's very little doubt about it. I mean, the geezer knows about as much for, you know, I mean, he knows very little about football, it feels like. And he certainly... you know, he knows how to make money, but that's not the same as creating on-pitch success. But yeah, I think the bloke's a twit, but he's not selling up unless an offer comes in. You know, I mean, we had people throwing coins at his family, right? He didn't give a shit. He didn't give a fuck. He just banned them. That's what will happen because he knows that people will come in and fill those seats. Cheap tickets.
But the one thing I will say,
West Ham fan, I'll go.
I understand what you're saying there. But the one thing with this club that we do it all the time, is we will start something and then we'll end it before it's even begun. We've done it last year. And one thing I will agree with you on, in the Moyes, going back to the Moyes thing, what you said earlier, is there was fans coming out with GSB out banners at the time when they wanted Moyes out the door. That irritates me to high heaven because that banner should be out all the time. And I don't understand why that banner's not out all the time. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me. It seems like the only time that people want to start bringing out banners for GSB is when they want something, but really they should want to get rid of this owner. And that's
I certainly remember a lot of banners a couple of seasons ago. Moyes out.
Yeah, I know, but you know we can't change history now, can we? Let's be honest. Any final words from you, Rich, before I let you go, mate? Anything? You got anything positive to say?
Anything positive to say? Look, I think this could be a good season under Potter. I really think so. I've got the privilege. I'm going out to America to support the boys as well. So that's very exciting. That'll be a good week or so. That's what's positive. I actually genuinely think this will be a good season. I actually do. The problem is our view of a good season. I think we've been spoiled a little bit, you know, and I think West Ham's always been this weird kind of club where, now this is back to negativity, but we always tend to think we're a little bit better than we are. But I actually think this season, if we can get a few scalps, put together some good football, finish in the top half, I'd be a happy little bunny come the summer. And I genuinely think with Graham Potter at the helm, if we can get a bit of atmosphere in the stadium, I think we'll see that this season.
Any final words on the Mohamed Kudus?
Fuck him, man. You know, I'm not gonna boo him. Right, because I just think it doesn't actually help. That being said, he's not on my Christmas card list. Yeah, no chance, not in a million years. And if I had a Kudus shirt, oh man, that would be staying in the bottom of a box for a very, very long time. I would not be seen wearing that in public, never in a million years. And I'm trying to stay away from Spurs fans. I'm sure you are as well. It's painful at the moment.
Yeah. Spurs fans have come for me quite heavily over the last 24 hours, rightfully so. Yeah, you will. If you go on Twitter, you see it on my thingy. They've clipped me up and they're having a good laugh. But we always have the last laugh of them fuckers, so it doesn't really matter. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Anyway,
thanks for having me on, mate. Thank you as well.
No worries at all. That was Rich. Get your final words in, mate. Do you know what I mean? That's all I'm going to say. Get your final thoughts and whatever you want to say. Stick it in the comment section below. Some things I agree with Rich on, some things I really disagree with him on. Yeah, everyone's got their own opinion, especially in the YouTube world. Like, I might not agree with Nick on certain things. Nick might not agree with me. I might not agree with Gio or Nick from West Ham Fan TV. But we all got our own opinions. The thing is that we all care about this club, and the thing is that care is not going to go away. So, you know, we've got to change that. When people say to me that you can't get this owner out, I disagree on that completely. Because if you start making too much noise, he's going to start getting the ump. And it seems like we make a bit of noise and then we run out of steam. It's as simple as that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next sort of week. Yeah, because now you've got rid of a player that is one thing. You've got the money for that player. Do we need to get rid of another player before we sign someone? Now, my prediction is this, that I think we have to sell one more person before we start signing players. Someone said to me earlier on, it makes a bit of sense that I don't think it's going to be enough to start getting a few players in. So I think we're going to see another player going at the door, probably Alvarez or Aguerd. So, or Mavropanos. It's going to be one of them three. So yeah, let's get to some comments. Digger, the bloke attacking Nick's asking questions yet refused to allow you to answer is like having a conversation with a foghorn. Well, each their own, isn't it? Each their own. What else we got here? Let's have a look. Oh, what have I done there? No, want that. Yep, bish bash bosh. We got James. If someone was acting like Sullivan in our life, he would need a bodyguard. True. He's, Shame I was enjoying the show until the young lad come on and preaching at everyone. Yeah. Well, listen, I don't. The link's there. Anyone can come on. Do you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Where are we? BB. What's this? Let's see what Brian's got to say. I'm sorry, but he is. From my view, Moyes fucked us, mate. And yes, I respect for the trophy, okay, but he did more damage than good for me, unfortunately. I don't think it was all on him, but people will say it was on Moyes. I think Sullivan played the game a little bit with all of us on that one, I know. You know what? That is me done. I've done an hour and 10 minutes. I've had Nick from Clarent and Booze on, go and subscribe to him. I've had Richard on. Do you know what I mean? Richard, the the man who loves a debate, I must admit. So yeah, shout out to Rich. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go and enjoy yourselves on this Thursday afternoon. Lovely weather out there. Go and enjoy yourselves. Be happy. And my final thing is this. I got clipped up by Spurs fans and fucking accounts on X and everything, and I'm probably getting laughed at as we speak. Yeah, but we always have the last laugh, Tottenham. We always have the fucking last laugh. So when Mo ends up not performing, we will be back in false. But until then, we're going to have to hold it, and I'm going to have to hold it. I've learnt my lesson. Don't ever be emotional when doing a video, especially when stuff's happening in your own personal life. Because if it does, it could backfire on you. So I've got to hold the L on this one and let them have their little moment of fun. But we will see what happens in the future. Anyway, from me to you, take care of yourselves out. It's been a good show, this one. And I'll see you again in the next one.